All right, we're here again with Conversations with Malik, and we would like to thank everybody who listens and watches this show. Happy holidays to everyone. This is the first COVID-19 holiday season, but we will get through this. And please don't forget to check us at convoswithmalik.com, convoswithmalik.com. There you will find all our social media links. We're on Instagram at ConWMalik. Facebook and YouTube, Conversations with Malik. Please like, subscribe, share. I want to thank everybody who helps out with the show. Kareem the Dream Raheem for his wonderful production. Justin Mas, social media guru. My co-host Jeff Joes and Mona Bish. I want to thank everybody and also, you know, everybody from over there, AC for Inmates and Another Chance Media. Shout out to Audrey Reyes. Thank you for sending media people to interview. I'm truly humbled and I appreciate it. And you guys are the best. And I'm here with more of the best. I'm here with Debra Stover, right? And she's an author, pediatrician. Got it right?
No, nurse practitioner.
Nurse practitioner. Okay, and we're gonna talk to her about her book that she wrote. That she's a mom and she's a grandma. She's the matriarch of the family, and we're gonna get into her story and how she became a nurse practitioner and accomplishing all of the great things that she's accomplishing, traveling all over the world and all this good stuff. How you doing, Debra?
I'm doing fine. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm great. I'm great. And listen, we had a little hiccup where we wasn't able to do the interview, but we're here right now.
We're here right now.
Tell us a little bit about Debra.
All right. Ooh, can I say a little bit? But I can say a lot. Okay. My name is Debra Stover. Mm-hmm. I am the mother of 6, grandmother of 18. Mm-hmm. I am. That phone would ring. That phone never rings. Mm-hmm. Let me stop it.
Yeah, it's gonna ring now. Right.
Let me see. That's my house phone. I'm sorry. No That's my house phone. I don't even answer that phone. Hadn't answered it in 3 years. Okay. Okay. So my name is Debra Stover. Mm-hmm. I am a brand new author. Mm-hmm. I'm a nurse practitioner for 4 years. I've been a nurse for 28 years. I'm the mother of 6, and I have 18 grandchildren. With that being said, I have come a long way. I was in the group home, in foster care, and I overcome a lot of obstacles to get to where I am today.
Mm-hmm. So you were one of the. So talk to me about your life growing up in a group home, being in foster care. What was that like for you?
Well, it was horrifying, I thought. But as a child, being in group home and in foster care, all I wanted was to get back home to my mom. Because I went to public school, and when I went to public schools, the children in the schools were, basically they went home and they were, lack of better terms, they were my friends. And all I wanted to do was go home and with my mom, and instead I was going back to a group home. Right. And going back to the group home, it wasn't bad. Now that I look back on it as an adult, it wasn't bad vibes at that time, but it was bad for me because that's not what I thought I wanted at that time.
So did you feel, so growing up that way, did you feel like sometimes life was a little unfair for you?
Did I feel what?
Yeah, life was unfair.
Oh, yes. I thought life was unfair. I thought as a child that how come I got to go back to this group home when the other children that I was in school with, they were going home to their parents. And it made me angry. And I became kind of sort of aggressive with the children at the school. So yeah, it was bad at that time, I thought.
Gotcha. So you grew up having a story of challenges. Not everybody. I hear the phone is off the hook. You want to put it on the hook? What do you want to do? It's okay. If it rings again, maybe you could put the volume off or something.
I don't even know how to work this phone.
Gotcha. Don't worry about it. We good. This is real. This is real. This is real life stuff. Actually, this is the stuff that sells. It's reality TV. You know. So uh so growing up that way, you know, my mother she adopted children. My mother was one of the people who the foster care agency would call when they had children.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all too aware of it. My mother passed. There was actually 4 children that needed to be housed because she had adopted 3 of them. I think one still wasn't adopted. I took 2 of the boys.
Mm-hmm.
My mother passed and continued to raise them. So I know, I know all about this. Not all about it as someone who was in foster care, but
Mm-hmm.
someone who was there for foster care
Foster care.
children.
Right.
And listen, I can only imagine uh, how tough that is. Did you know who your parents were? And
Well, parents, I knew who my mother was, and I knew who I was told my father was, but I never actually knew my father. But my mother was whom I was trying to get back to, because even though they removed us from our mother, we knew who she was because at the time I was maybe 5 or 6 years old.
gotcha.
And we went to visit my uncle, which was my mom's brother in Georgia, here in Georgia. We lived in Birmingham, but we came here to Georgia to visit with our Uncle Sonny. With us coming here to visit our Uncle Sonny, him and my mom got into a fight. Ultimately, both of them wound up in jail. He got out, she did not. And he called defects on us. And that's how we got in the system. And because he refused to keep us while she was still going through her legal bouts and all that. So we wound up in the system and we ultimately stayed there for 10 years.
Wow. You know? So, so being in the foster care system, were you like in and out of different foster homes?
No, actually, when I first went into the system, I was in a group home.
Gotcha.
I was in a group home for 7 or 8 years until I ran away. Actually, I was there, but my siblings, a couple of them had been placed into foster care, but I basically was only in 2 foster homes once I ran away from the group home after about 7 or 8 years.
Okay. So was it safe to say that you were a rebellious child?
A what kind of child?
A rebellious.
I was, you know what? I guess you could say that, but really I was angry.
Okay.
I was angry. And for me, rebellious is you're doing stuff that you know ain't right, but you're gonna do it anyway. Okay. In my aspect, I was just angry. I wanted my mother, and nothing no one could tell me was gonna get me the answer unless they was giving me my mother.
Gotcha.
And why did I want her? I just thought that was the way to go. And going to school with the other children, I knew that when they left school, they were going home to their parents, right, or at least their mother. You know, I didn't look at it as parents because I really didn't know my father, and so I just wanted to go home.
You just wanted to go home. So, so as you become an adult, because I want to get into the book, right? Mm-hmm. But I want to kind of touch on the story of of you transforming into the nurse practitioner. Okay. And writing the book, I want to give the audience a clear picture that you can go from being where you were, going up group homes, foster care, and still make something out of your life. Right. But let's take them on the journey through the transformation so that someone who might watch this, who is where you were or went through what you went through, can say, hey, if Debra could do it, I could do it. Right. So let's connect the dots here. So at what point did you start pursuing a career in the medical field, and how did that transpire? Okay. So what happened was when I finally did, and I have to tell this part to get to that part.
So I finally did get to go back home with my mom, maybe 13 or 14 years old. So
Okay.
when I was 13 or 14 years old, going back to my mom, obviously I was looking for love in the wrong places. The first, before we even get to me going back to my mom, the foster home, the group home I ran away from. Then I went to a foster home. That didn't work out. Then I went to another foster home. In that foster home, they had boys that they weren't men, they were boys close to my age. They were in my head and they were telling me stuff that I thought I wanted to hear. And that's where I say raping my innocence come in, because they was telling me stuff and, obviously to say and have sex with me. And
Okay.
it worked. So when I left that second group home and ran away, realizing that's not what I wanted to do, I ran away and I wound up in the juvenile system. At this time, from the juvenile system, they called my mom because I told them I didn't want to discuss anything unless they were going to send me home to my mom. So at this time, they do. They call my mom. She come up for a meeting. We go to court, and I go home with my mom. So while I'm at home with my mom, she has three other children, and those three children, two boys and one girl, they were there. But I'm telling you, it was like a culture shock. I'm coming from this big elaborate group home to this 2-bedroom house with 4 people, and it was like, really? But either way, I was happy because I was where I wanted to be. I was home with my mother.
Right, but who were those other kids? Those were her kids, like
They're my sister and brother. That's the children our mom had after we were gone, because she had 6 children that went into the system in 1969.
Wow.
It was 6 of us that went into the system, and she had 3 more children after we were already in the system.
Gotcha.
So I had 2 brothers and a sister when I got there, and when I got there, it was it was my mom, so I was happy to be there. And even with me being there, it still wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought once I got home, it was going to be love, this, that, and the other. But either way, I found out shortly after being there that I was pregnant. This is at age 13. So at age 13, I found out I was
got
pregnant.
pregnant from one of those boys in the group home. Yeah.
The foster home, not the group home.
Right.
At the foster home, no, but the group home, the foster home, yes, but not the group home, because that's why I was saying they was telling me things that I thought I wanted to hear, and I thought they were interested in me, the person, but they really weren't. They wanted sex from me, and then obviously they got it. But to say, I titled the book "Raping My Innocence" because when I found out I was pregnant at age 30, I didn't even know how I had gotten pregnant. So I was innocent in that aspect. And, when I got home to my mom and she's asking me questions about who's the dad, this, that, and the other, I'm still naive. I don't know what she's talking about, but eventually I figured it out, or she put it in my head that this is what happened and this is how this happened. So after I got there, my mom, she loved me, but she didn't show me she loved me, or she didn't tell me that she loved me. But I knew she loved me because just about some of the things she did. But as time went on, I got pregnant with another child. At this time, I got pregnant. I knew how I got pregnant, and I was at age 15 at this time. But either way, I dropped out of school in the 9th grade. So I dropped out of school and I continued to, just look for love in all the wrong places, basically. Mm-hmm. So by the time I was age 19, I had 4 babies.
Wow.
I had 4 babies, and I had a man that, for lack of better terms, was there. And I don't know. After time went on, I kept saying these children deserve better. Gotcha. They deserve better. They deserve better, because I didn't want them to go through what I went through. But now, as an adult looking back in the group home, and group home, at least in the foster care, it wasn't bad. But I had to get to be grown to realize what I had was a blessing. But it's not what I wanted because it wasn't my mom.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you got a story. So all of this,
right?
Right? Because I've been through some stuff too.
Right.
and that's why I do this show.
Right.
I wasn't in foster care, but I was in group homes. I was a juvenile delinquent. So
Right.
I was in and out of group homes, from group home, not group, yeah, from group home to group home to group home to group home, DFY facilities, you know. So
Right.
I done ran the gamut with all of that. And
Right.
um and there's a certain level of pain that exists among the constituents that are there. We're all in pain on some different levels, right?
Right.
Because that's why we're in that place.
Right.
And so I get it. And I was in some of the co-ed places, you know, in there with some of the girls, and, and so I know the whole thing. So you're 19, you have these experiences. That was powerful. You talked about when you first got pregnant, you was so innocent, you didn't even know how you was pregnant.
Had no idea.
And I believe that, right? Because when we're young, we start doing adult things, not knowing what the hell we doing.
Right.
You know. So now talk to me about from 19 on. What is your life like, and then what starts to begin to happen?
Okay, from age 19, when I had the 4 babies, like I said, for lack of better terms, I had this guy in my life, which was a good provider. And he was a good provider. He made sure we had lights, water, gas, and all of the amenities. But he was verbally abusive, you know, and I tolerated and I dealt with that, not because I wanted to, because I really didn't know any better, for maybe about 5 years. So one day I woke up and said, you know what? This is not how I want to be treated. You know, and he used to always say, well, ain't nobody gonna want you. You got 4 children. You ain't gonna do this and you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna find no man. So one day I woke up and said, you know what, dear God, if I can't get anybody else, this is not what I want. So I stepped out on faith and I left there. So after that, I met this other guy, criminal as well, because like all my life was dealing with criminal men, or I didn't know any better. I didn't respect myself enough to know that I deserved better, is what I learned out in my older age.
Right.
I got pregnant again. This is baby number 5.
Gotcha.
And so after baby number 5, it was baby number 6. After baby number 6, I said no more. I cut them off. So after I had my last child, my goal really was that, you know what, I got to do something. And then my oldest son, he was about maybe 12 or 13 at this time. He never wanted to go to school. And I used to cuss him out because I ain't know no better. I used to cuss him out, and I'm like, why does this boy always come tell me he don't want to go to school? But at the same time, I'm projecting anger and frustration out on him because he needs to go to school. I, felt like, oh my God, I'm such a hypocrite. I'm encouraging him to do something I didn't do. Because the truth is, he's 12. I dropped out of school when I was 14. So we basically got the same levels of knowledge. So at that time, I enrolled myself into a GED program.
Nice.
And I started, and it's been onward and upward ever since. And I think my children never knew I dropped out of school.
So you've been pursuing education ever since. So you got your GED. Then from there, from getting your GED, you went into the medical field.
I started the LPN program. After the LPN program, I went to RN school. Okay. Then I got my bachelor's. Then I got my master's. And I'm a nurse practitioner.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse me, girl from the group home, in and out of foster care. Like, excuse me.
So I have a master's now, and I'm working on my doctorate, and I should have it in less than a year.
So wait a minute. You telling me I'm gonna be calling you Dr. Stover?
Exactly. That's exactly what you're gonna be calling me.
Our next interview, you're gonna be Dr. Stover.
Right.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. Well, look. So you're in the medical field. What's that like, being in the medical field and helping people? Is that starting to give you a sense of self-worth that, because the devil's a liar, right?
Right.
One of the enemy, the devil, Shaitan, whatever it is you want to call it, the enemy, the inner me, whatever we want to call it.
Right.
His favorite line is, "You're a piece of shit. You ain't
right.
and
Right.
you ain't gonna never be shit. Right?
Right.
And
Right.
he told everybody that same line.
Right. And I was told that line so many times that I was never going to do anything because I had too many children and I couldn't do it. My own mother, the one I was desperately trying to get back to, she told me those same words. In fact, she wouldn't even keep my children on my journey. I had a dear friend who kept my children on my journey. So that's what, and to get out there and to help people, it's like if I put a Band-Aid on somebody, I don't have to let them know I care. Just because I healed them or helped them, they understand.
Right.
Because I've never been showed and or taught love. So I just give it back like that without, I can love people by showing them love, because love is an action word.
Right. And that's what, see, so the thing is, if I'm looking for love,
right,
and I want to experience love, then I need to show love.
Exactly.
If I'm looking for kindness, if I'm looking for affection, then I'm the one that needs to give kindness, give affection. Because
right.
when I'm doing it, I'm living in the spirit of kindness, of love, of affection. And then that opens the portal for me to also receive it from others.
Exactly.
It's like setting the radio dial, you know? So like up here, we got Hot 97, right? You know, when I turn to Hot 97, they play hip hop and R&B. So when I'm tuned in to Hot 97, that's what I'm gonna hear.
Right.
If I turn to BLS, they play old school.
That's what you're gonna hear. That's right.
So when you turn to the love dial, that's what you're gonna get on that dial.
Right.
That's the way the universe is set up. If it's mathematical, you know, mathematics and God can't lie. So that's just what it is. And I'm not trying to get too deep. It's really practical. When I practice it in my life, that's what I receive.
That's right. Yeah. And yeah, your life, my life, everybody's. I mean, that's what you get what you see.
You get what you see. You get what you experience. You get what you think. You get what you open yourself up to. Now, don't get me wrong. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm practical, so I understand that every time you give love, you ain't gonna get it back.
Right? Not always.
but even with that, I'm still in the right place because I know, well, at least I tried.
You tried.
Right. So, okay, so you're starting to feel better about yourself. And as a result of feeling better about yourself, now you want more and more education.
Right.
You know, so the girl that dropped out at 14 now can't get enough of
education. Right. Right. That's true.
And her crazy ass is still going.
That's right. Still at it. They got enough punishment yet. Yeah, that's true.
You know, because studying is punishment. I mean, look, I only got 1 year college. I'm an entrepreneur, but I watch my kids study for finals in college, and that shit is no joke.
Right.
So, what's the title of the book? Talk to me about the book.
The title of the book is called Raping My Innocence. And it's called Raping My Innocence. And it's because truly at a young age, even I was in the group home, they never gave me sex education. They never told me or taught me anything about sex. So when I had sex, I didn't know that's what it was called. I didn't know what I was doing. I was only 13 and I really didn't know. But my innocence was raped.
Gotcha. And so in the book, you're really talking about the story of your life.
My life.
And everything that you've been through. You know, I hear that you're traveling. Tell me where the book has taken you.
Well, I would like to, with the book, I would like to help, if only one person, one young girl or one young lady, to let them know that their past does not have to define their future. You can make mistakes, but you don't have to wallow in them. So, if you continue to strive and try to do better, you can do better. You know, you gotta want it though. If you want it bad enough, you can get it. You know, because I could have just threw my hands up. I was in the projects. I'm around everybody that did drugs. In fact, I was around everybody in a whole group of people, like 12, 13 people. Everybody in there was doing drugs for me. Why didn't I do drugs? Because it didn't look good on them. And if it didn't look good on them, why would it look good on me? I said, I don't want to look like y'all. And I definitely don't want to spend my money like y'all. I got 6 children waiting for me to come home with a meal.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta want it, you know, and you gotta strive and achieve for it. Nothing is free.
So if you could, well, before I get to these other questions, before we close, and I could tell I could talk to you all day. Tell me about some of the countries you've been to.
Well, Jamaica is what I've been to Jamaica so many times. They don't owe me nothing. And I ain't no Stella either.
Oh, you ain't get your groove back one time?
I like Jamaica. Because I was swimming with the dolphins a couple of times.
Me too.
I played around with the stingrays, but I really didn't like them. They scared me. But even though they told me the stinger was gone, I didn't believe them.
Yeah.
And I took pictures with them all too. But my favorite place I went to was Fiji. I went to Fiji last year for my birthday.
Nice.
That was a 20-hour flight.
Wow.
And I went by myself. People said they were going to go, but no one went. So I went by myself, and I learned one thing on that trip, that it's best to be alone in places like that because you don't have to be considerate of nobody. You go by yourself, you do what you want to do by yourself, and you eat, sleep, get up when you get ready. You don't have to worry about it. But in Fiji, I had an amazing time. I went last year. My birthday's in February. So I left Fiji on February the 10th, and I got back to America on February the 10th. So I had 2 birthdays in one day because they're 14 hours ahead of us.
Nice. And at least you got one last trip in before everything closed, you know?
Exactly. And I haven't been anywhere this year because they won't let us in the countries nowhere.
Yeah. But hopefully with the vaccine and a new administration, you know, by next summer, you know, I can see.
Hopefully 2021, I hope to be my year because I don't think I've been on a plane this year.
Yeah. No, I did. I had to go a couple of places. But yeah. But okay, so if you could go back in time and talk to a 13-year-old Debra Stover, what would you say to her?
If I could go back and talk to myself at age 13, I would tell me to be wise. Be wise. But first of all, in order to be able to share something with me, someone had to teach me. And that's where the fault is at. I never learned. I was very smart in school, as far as the books was concerned, but outside of the books and getting sexual and taking your clothes off, I didn't know anything about that kind of aspect of it. But if I could, I'd go back, I'd tell me to be smarter, be wiser. Don't listen to people telling you wrong things, you know, if I knew. But the problem with that whole aspect of it is I didn't know. And I don't even know if I would change anything about my life, because if I did, then I wouldn't be who I am today.
Wow. So do you think she would listen to you?
Do I think back then? Nah. Deborah wouldn't listen to nobody, because only way I would listen to me then is if I had a view on my mother. All I wanted at that time was to be home with my mother. I mean, and when I got there, it wasn't like I thought it was going to be, but that's what my goal was, to get home to my mother and just seek love there, because in the group home, that was a paid aspect for them. They was getting paid. That was a job for them. They didn't do it because they cared. They may have cared to a degree, but they got a paycheck at the end of the day.
Wow. You got to send me a copy of the book, Raping Me of My Innocence.
Raping My Innocence. I sure will.
My Innocence. Yeah, I need that. So if you could go back and talk to a 19-year-old Debra, what would you say to her?
Oh, now if I could go back and talk to Hush, that'd be a different story because at this time she done learned a whole lot. I would tell her, even though I didn't do it for myself, but if I could go back and change the time, I would tell her just wise up. Stop letting them men in your ear, because that was my problem. People telling me things that they thought I wanted to hear to get a reaction or get a purpose out of me that was not good for me. So I would tell me, stop, listen, stay focused, let that go. It's not for you.
Mm.
You know, that's exactly what I mean, I would tell me that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. So if you can just say one thing to all of the young women growing up in America, African American, Latino, Asian, white, because some of them are all going through the same
Right, they
thing.
are. Mm-hmm.
If you could say something to them, what would be your message to them?
My message to them would be learn, learn, learn. Don't listen to people telling you stuff to get you off track. Stay focused, and let's say you fall off track. Jump back on track and stay focused. Keep your eye on the prize because you are so worth it. And when you have positivity in yourself and you love yourself, then nobody should be able to tell you things that you know ain't right. You know, at 13 years old today versus 13 years old when I was 13 years old is a whole lot different. So these younger people today, they are more wiser than I was. So they just need to stay focused and stay on track. And if they fall off, just get back up. Don't stop. Don't let your past define your future because you can do it. You can do it.
Mm. Give me one word to describe Debra Stover.
Ambitious.
Nice. Listen, it's been another great interview, Conversations with Malik. Please don't forget to follow us, like, subscribe, share, tell somebody about this sister, Raping My Innocence, buy the book. Tell everybody how they can find you. Give us your social media links. There you go.
Raping My Innocence.
I'm gonna have to give you my address because you gotta send me a copy.
Okay, I sure will.
You know, they didn't send it to me. So
Okay.
yeah, send it to me and then I'll read it and then we can chop it up again.
Okay.
Be sure I'm gonna have some more questions about it. And
Okay.
tell everybody how they can find you.
Okay, I'm on Facebook as Debra Stover, and my Twitter account I just got. I don't even I think it's at Debra Stover.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see.
You got Instagram too?
Twitter. Oh wait a minute, let me go there. I do. Sure, that's at Debra Stover too. Let me see. Instagram is what's my Instagram? I think it's at Debra Stover too. I have to find out for sure because I'm not really sure.
Don't worry about it. I'll tag
because I just got it.
I'll tag you some of these clips from
Okay.
this interview. And listen, thank you to Audrey Reyes, Another Chance Media, AC for Inmates, the whole crew over there. Thank you again for all that you guys do. And listen, I'll close the show in the usual fashion. Brother Malik loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll call you in a second.
Okay, thanks.